Oh, is this an interview?
Yeah.
Come on in.
Records hear me, just go and see what lies behind the record store's mind. If you're lost, get found. Give the sound. It's a place you can go where you're feeling low. Don't mind and share what we find. We'll make your heart dance. None else can lie. If you're lost, get found. Just take in the sound. It's a place you can go when you're feeling low. See me, records hear you. Down to the sea, nothing you can do. Just hear me, records hear you. Listen and see all you can be. Records hear you.
Hey guys, I'm Paige, and welcome to Season 2 of Records Near Me. I know it's been a while since I've released an episode, but it's 2025, so we are back in full swing. Today, I'm recording at Star Bar in Little Five Points, Atlanta, and I'm going to be joined with some members of Chip McGuire and the Blood Mountain Collective, Bobcat, and the Muckers. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Bobcat.
Hey, I'm Jeff Shaw from the Muckers.
Hi, I'm Jeff Costello from Muckers.
Hi, I'm Chip. I just got here. Hey, I'm Dylan. I play guitar for Chip McGuire.
I'm Thomas, and I sing background for Chip McGuire.
I'm Haley. I play drums for Chip McGuire.
Brad.
I'm Coleman. I play guitar in Chip McGuire.
And Chip McGuire.
I'm Randall. I play bass in the Muckers.
I'm Caden. I play bass in Chip McGuire. I'm Jack. I exist within the confines of the Chip McGuire Band.
Prisoner of the Chip McGuire Band, it sounds like.
Enslaved to the Chip McGuire Band. I'm a part of
The wrong paperwork. Just blink. Let us know you're
I'm a part of the machine now, brother.
Yeah, so this is definitely the largest interview I've ever done. Never had this many people on my podcast, so thank you guys all for being here.
It's fun for us too, man.
All right, yeah.
You got another human being right there. Hey, you human being?
Oh, one more. We need an intro.
Hi,
What's your name?
Andrew.
What band are you in?
Stepmoms.
All right, rad.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Their sax player.
Oh, okay.
When you do the interview in the green room of the Star Bar, you never know what you're going to get walking through.
Yeah, you never know.
Sassy, baby.
So, Bobcat, it was you that kind of put all this together, it seems. So, tell me a little bit about what's your one-man band setup like?
Okay, so my one-man band is foot drums, mainly cajon for the bass because fitting a bass drum in my minivan is too much.
Yeah.
A snare on a stand that I have that's like activated as kick pedal. Every now and then there's a tambourine and or shaker around my ankle.
Okay.
I play guitar, but not in the traditional way. I play it tuned down to C with flat rounds.
Okay.
So I'm playing like bass lines and chords and melodies, like all at once based on what's going on, and the vocals and occasionally kazoo or harmonica, but those are really getting phased out.
Okay. Is there a reason you're phasing them out, or?
No, just the more recent songs I've been playing don't call for them, so.
Okay.
Which part of your body takes the check at the end of the night?
That's a good question.
How do you split it? Do you get an even split between the two of them, or?
That's between him and his insurance.
No, my right foot gets a better cut.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited to see it, honestly.
Me too.
So have you always performed solo as a one-man band, or?
Well, I mean, I've always performed, usually not solo. I'm in a band called the Arkhams. That's this image right on the...
Ooh, nice. Oh, that's cool.
Arkhams are a psychobilly band based in New York. We used to be based in New York City and have a steady lineup of... It was always me and my singer, Matt. And then we had a drummer, Sean. he moved away from the city, had kids, and lives a different life now. Yeah, we're all in our early 40s.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, our guitar player, Johnny, passed away in 2017 at 35 years.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, his kidneys, he was cursed with health,
Oh wow.
more so than anyone else ever.
Oh, it's unfortunate. I have a question for the Muckers actually next. So online I saw that your name doesn't mean what you think it means. So tell me a little bit about that. What does that mean?
So this was actually I had been in two bands that almost got named the Muckers before, and so I decided to keep it. But one of the reasons I like it is it sounds dirty, it sounds like a curse word, it sounds like it means something nasty, and it's got a bunch of different possible definitions, usually around like blue collar work, the guy who cleans the horse crap in the stalls and stuff like that. But as a North Irish slang term, it literally just means like the friend.
Okay.
So it's like, it sounds dirty and it sounds punk rock, but it literally just means the friends.
All right. Good to know.
I feel like
Muckers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you hang out with your friends? What?
this guy loves his friends, dude.
You value friendship? Oh my god.
It's the worst.
Oh my God.
We're secretly the most wholesome band in Atlanta.
Oh, can we swear?
Right.
I'm sorry. Shut
Yeah,
up.
you can swear.
Okay.
FCC compliant.
Speaking of Chip McGuire, I heard you change your name, the name of the band a lot.
Well, I changed it like 2 times officially, and it's like been
Okay.
like a matter of just trying to figure out kind of really where I fit, kind of what I wanted to do, because I've been doing a lot of writing for a really long time, and it's just a kind of a matter of also finding the right people to get behind the right kind of project. Life changed exponentially at like right 2020, so I mean, I think everybody had to do a lot of restructuring during that kind of time. So I went from like one band actually having a solid like set of musicians, and then I tried to do the whole thing of like hiring hired guns, which is an absolute fucking nightmare. And then and now I've like started mucking around, if you will, with all of these cats, and this has become more of a collective because a lot of these guys are in other bands and stuff like that too, and I'm really trying to push them to also pursue a lot of these endeavors. So have your hand in multiple cookie jars, because that's literally the only way you can make it in this industry. Is to have your hand in as many fucking cookie jars as you can. So right now we are Chip McGuire and the Mountain Blood Collective.
All right.
For those of you, I know that you can't see me, but I wanted to paint a mental picture. I am 5'3". My last name is McGuire. I am clearly Irish with my dark Filipino skin, my currently bleached blonde black hair, and yes, very, very Irish. I'm very happy to be here with the Muckers. My fellow Irish fellow.
Filipino Irish is a classic combination. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sounds like with a storied history.
They both like alcohol, I think.
When I think Irish, the first thing that comes to mind is Filipino.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything
She gets it.
And
Padawan braids.
Just Padawan braids and hawk.
Yeah, rat tail.
So for those of you who don't know, my podcast was mainly actually themed around record stores. All of season 1 was interviewing record store owners, so trying to branch out.
That's awesome.
Just interview anybody into music. So I was wondering if any of you guys have a record collection.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, what are some of your favorites?
I just picked up Unsilent Death by Nails, and that was it's like a hardcore record I've been looking for a minute. I was really happy about that. I picked up Floral Green by Title Fight at the same shop.
Yeah, you showed that one to me.
Yeah, dude.
It was awesome.
I'm actively on the hunt for working with the Miles Davis Quintet and Everything Went Numb by Streetlight Manifesto. So I'll Venmo you, I guess. I haven't
been able to find an Outcome the Wolves from Rancid, so.
Yeah, there's so many great records that I stay on the hunt for. Like working with the Miles Davis Quintet, that's one of them. It's been 2 years. But one of my all-time favorite records that I have is this Citizen record that I bought at a show. It was like my first real heavy show. And I think it's Everyone Here Is Going to Heaven or Everyone's Going to Die. I don't know. I forget the name of the record, but it's
one of those statements is true. For
yeah,
sure.
one of them is going to be true. Yeah, it was my absolute favorite record. My ex-girlfriend's dog ate it, chewed it, and I still have like the sleeve with all of its puncture marks. And
It's all bands.
And the taxidermy dog.
You weren't supposed to talk about
Sorry.
it.
That
We
is-
made him into a drone.
He's not taxidermied and I miss him. But yeah, Bobcat, what's in yours, man?
Yeah.
My record collection, my most recent one is probably the most recent Kaiser's album from like 2-3. I don't remember the name or anything, but from like the last 2 years. Because you got to remember, I don't have a record player in my van yet, or a way to find it. But the most recent one was that. I also listen to, for those of you who know me, I like a lot of Beatles and like Beatles adjacent bands like the Dave Clark Five and the Hollies and the Searchers. I like a lot of surf music, kind of like, the Shadows.
I have a question for you. How about Crowded House?
I like Round House.
I love Crowded House. I'm a big Beatles fan, and you might be into Crowded House if you were into the Beatles because they're very Beatles adjacent.
Hey, is that like there used to be a sick record shop like right down the road?
So there's Wax and Facts and Criminal Records right here in Little Five Points.
That's what it was.
Check out both of them. Wax
Yeah,
and
there's a
Facts
lot
has
of
a better
these ones.
used collection.
Mhm.
Criminal Records has a better new collection.
I got
right on.
Yeah, so-
man.
They're both dope.
Yeah, they are both super cool. Wax and Facts has been here since like the 70s though, and I know Criminal Records opened in the 90s.
That
But
sounds like a kick drum beat.
Yeah, my first record, Criminal Records.
Criminal
hey,
Records.
what was it? What was your first record?
Van Halen.
Van Halen.
Van Halen.
Nice.
Van Halen.
That's a great first record.
Yeah.
Anybody else remember the first record they ever bought?
Yeah, I remember it. It was The Giveaway by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Which, at the time, I thought it was a great album, and I went back and,
Did you catch Lemon Bomb?
yeah, unfortunately, dude.
They're a solid band. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, he slept through the set.
They're a
so-
solid band until you get to their vocalist, and then you're like, oh.
My first tape was Arrested Development, which is funny because I did not live in Atlanta at the time.
Yeah. Oh wow.
First
Anybody?
record I spent my own money on, probably Badfinger's No Dice, and I was very disappointed on that because
Okay.
their first album, it has a misleading name. It's called Magic Christian Music, which is the best album. Right? It's the one with Come and Get It, Carry On to Tomorrow, Rock of Ages, Beautiful Moonlight, all, it's produced by Paul McCartney. And it was a letdown. That was the first time I actually spent my own money on a record.
Okay. The only
I like
Badfinger
vinyl.
album I have is Ass.
We're like talking specifically vinyls, right? Like
Yeah,
your first
yeah.
vinyl. Okay.
My
Mine
first
was-
one was a bit cringe. I got it when I was like 12. I got the Imagine Dragons.
That could be way cringier.
The nice thing about Imagine Dragons is if you like them, you don't even have to buy the albums. You can just wait for a car commercial to come out.
Just follow the mailbox money. Follow the mailbox money.
The first one I bought with my own money, I was 10 years old. I'd saved up, and I walked to the store and bought Thriller. It was brand new at the time, and that was the first one.
That's a solid
That's a solid
That's a
first
winner.
buy, yeah. That is definitely a solid first
And
buy.
it just come out, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta have this album." I had $10. Gonna go buy Thriller.
Nice, nice.
Hey, Quincy Jones is a killer producer.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's a no. Yeah, that guy's man.
Rest in peace, Quincy.
I know.
His daughter is not hard to look at. I mean,
Also,
sorry, inappropriate.
So, are you guys all touring on the same kind of lineup or all over the place?
Bobcat's the only one on proper tour. The rest of us are local to greater Atlanta area.
Oh, okay, okay.
Not
So,
local, but
Yeah, we met on
Muckers
tour.
and we have the same group of friends.
okay.
We played Moonrunners together last year. We probably been on a bunch of other fests together. They're not.
Yeah, and just didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you hang with the Taillight Rebellion and Swamp Rats crew.
Yeah, Swamp Rat's a very good. I did a lot of shows with them August, September through like North Carolina, Tennessee, and then one in their hometown in Detroit with them and Uncle Mountie.
Okay, so everybody else is local to Atlanta. Bobcat, you're on tour. You've been on tour for almost 2 years now?
Yeah, this is in February is month 23.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Now, I thought when I originally booked the tour, I got booked on Viva Las Vegas and Moonrunners of 23.
Mhm.
and a few other like small local festivals. Shout out to my friends in Walsenburg Porch Fest. Shout out to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and Lazarus Fest. My friends Weird Chieftains. But like the meat and potatoes was Viva Las Vegas and Moonrise. I was gonna try to go to my roots, but that didn't happen because I got booked on a lot of other stuff.
Okay.
So then so as I reached out, because my goal was to have no days off, a show every night, and a lot of the places were like, yeah, we'd love to have you, but we're booked until July. Oh, we'd love to have you, but we're booked until November.
Oh, wow.
And then, so I just kept extending it because these places clearly wanted to have me. It's not like they didn't. And I'm like, all right, how do I sustain this? Because this is way better than owning cabs and screaming at people 1,000 times a day.
Yeah, I bet.
What are you touring in?
Huh?
What are you touring
That's a
in?
good
What
question.
vehicle are you?
Oh,
I wouldn't believe that you're in a cab.
it's a 2022 Honda Odyssey that was this close to, I mean, you would think.
I love the Honda
When
Odyssey.
I owned the cab company, I just paid cash for cars and I waited 6 weeks for the title.
Oh.
And the 6 weeks that I waited for that title, I was getting burned out from owning cabs. That was like when I was sleeping 13, 14 hours a day. I weighed 400 pounds. I was in like the worst shape of my life. And I was like, you know what? I think I know what I gotta do. I gotta ditch this taxi driving lifestyle. And the fact that I'm booked on these festivals means I should be playing shows outside of just Long Island and maybe like the tri-state area and a little bit of New England and mid-Atlantic, because things have not come back here yet, meaning here at the end of 22, early 23. And then as I started seeing the country, I'm like, yeah, a lot of us are waking up from our COVID coma, right? And,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Live
as
music is back.
live music,
Right.
you know, every month I've seen a slight increase. It's nothing incredible, but just as people who give a shit about live music, you know, some bands who went on hiatus in the pandemic are slowly getting back in gear, and people starting to come out again. People starting to, you know, have a good time with the music.
Yeah.
And I want to be a part of this cycle of the music scene.
Yeah. Speaking of the pandemic, what was everybody's first live music experience after the pandemic? Mine was in my friend's yard. They just put on a show. They all socially distanced ourselves and sat and enjoyed from a cul-de-sac.
This shitty little emo band I was in at the time booked a gig in South Carolina. Huh?
You can speak a little louder.
Oh, so yeah, this shitty little emo band was in at the time. It sucked.
Yeah, say it loud.
Shitty music.
It was great. No, man.
So, how emo was it?
We were so sad, and I say shitty as in cringe. The music was good, but we booked a show before the pandemic hit in South Carolina. We were from Birmingham, Alabama, so we drove all the way up there after the pandemic hit and played a 2-hour set to the bartender. We brought another band from Alabama up there who also played a 2-hour set to the bartender.
You were out smoking, I assume.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love that band to this day. Their name is Soul Carnival. They're great. I would shout out the emo band, but it doesn't exist anymore. That's Soul Carnival with a K. But yeah, it was at Got Rocks in South Carolina, and that's a great venue, but I'm sure it would have been better if there were people there. That was my first experience playing live music after the pandemic hit.
I'd say most venues that I've been to are usually better when people are there.
On average, unless you're like,
unless there is Swayze's. There was Swayze's.
Yeah, it was.
That's the only one that's good. If there are people there, I left.
it's just the type of people.
It's got in danger now.
That practice session at that place over in Sandy Springs was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
I went to a punk rock show in Atlanta where every punk in Atlanta decided to point out how gray I had gotten since 2020. Thanks, guys.
I'm sure we all got some grades from that.
Drunken Unicorn?
Yeah,
Nice.
Hey.
We'll
My
celebrate
first show
ourselves there.
after the pandemic was playing the Atlanta Motor Speedway with my old Southern rock band.
Oh wow, nice. How was that?
It was pretty crazy. There was a shitload of people there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we played a lot of like Leonard Skinner and Molly Hatchet stuff like that. So
Okay.
it was a pretty good time.
Nice. So, what are some of you guys' musical influences? I know, Bobcat, you say on your website specifically you had some interesting things. Punk rock meets the Beatles, psychobilly meets Motown.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That's pretty much right. And the two most accurate ways you could describe mine. There's others, though. I mean, clearly Elvis Costello is an influence. I like some of those 90s bands. I really love the Posies Teenage Fan Club.
Okay.
And some, like, there's some, newer bands, like the goddamn Gallows for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our friends group. Goddamn Gallows I really like a lot. And then some of the newer bands. I really enjoy listening to Apes in the State, Sister Wife Sex Strike. I played a show not that long ago. Well, last night, you gotta check these guys out. The Catastrophes.
Ooh, that's a pretty cool shirt.
Yeah, these guys are based in Nashville. They were fantastic. No one was there last night to observe it.
That's a shame.
You were though, right?
Well, my impersonator was.
Yeah.
You have an impersonator?
Yeah.
Like
For
Andy,
legal reasons, I assume.
That's right.
like Andy Kaufman, you just never know when somebody's going to take a shot at you. So
Exactly.
It's like my avatar was acting up.
But no,
Was it me, babe? I swear.
trying to think of other bands I've been listening who have been like, influenced. Obviously, a lot of surf music. Chet Atkins is one of my favorite guitar players. Dwayne Eddy. If you want to know what I think of like a ideal guitar player, it's Dwayne Eddy, because he never overplayed.
Hmm.
He was like obviously a lead guitar, but he's probably the least flashy guitar player ever in the history of music. And I love that because you can remember every line Dwayne Eddy played ever.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. What about the Muckers? What are some of your guys' musical influences?
it's pretty wide ranging based on member. I would say lots of old school punk rock.
Yeah.
And then vocally, I am trying to combine Neil Fallon from Clutch and Luke Kelly from the Dubliners.
Alright.
Is what I'm aiming for. But then we've got a wide range of backgrounds and influences in the band. So I don't know if there's any one, but I think that kind of lends a little bit of strength because it's not all coming from one place. We're not just a punk rock band. We're not even just like an Irish rock band. We're just kind of mishmashing stuff together.
Oh man.
Shaw is a Filipino Irish.
I am a Filipino and Irish system. Apparently that's the
You'd think you'd know better than anybody.
you would think.
Filipino named McGuire.
McGuire.
I just was given the wrong idea, I guess, from the start. That was much ago.
And what are some of the musical influences for you, Chip?
It really kind of depends on where you kind of look at this along the I guess the long catalog of the music that I've written so far. I started off with a very like punk, very bluegrass. It was a lot of like acoustic instruments and stuff like that. But there's a weird layover of punk and bluegrass. You're like replacing train grooves with like do-gat, 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 and it kind of becomes kind of one and the same. So there's a lot of energy kind of behind in the earlier days, and then I started kind of getting a little bit more into just kind of like the emo scene from the 2000s because that's what I grew up in, and kind of let that influence that southern sound that I already had, and it's just kind of becoming whatever the hell it is that I'm sort of doing. Just a lot of noise, a lot of melodies, a lot of crying in the corner, and no one's looking.
No shame. All right. What about you guys over here?
I would say my all-time favorite bands are Alice in Chains and Nirvana.
Okay.
All right.
Wayne Staley is like Jesus to me.
Oh, nah, dude, it's all about Jerry Cantrell.
I like the way Eddie Van Halen plays guitar. So, yeah, Monkey See, Monkey Do. That's something I want to do too. So,
Yeah, I love Nirvana's melodies. They have the strongest melodies.
Very good sense of melody.
Fucking good.
Over very Man, that guy was really good at what he does.
Alright. Anybody else want to share their musical influences?
What about you, Jack?
Oh man, I listen to so much shit, dude. Oh my god.
That's why I call on you.
Like I'm a bass player. I play piano with this group, but I'm a bass player primarily, so I everything, man. For piano, I listen to like Bill Evans. I love jazz piano. The Mingus Plays Piano records are some of my all-time favorites. But overall, man, I love Fugazi. The Red Hot Chili Peppers were my first favorite band. Take it or leave it.
Californication was the first one. Make sure I specify it was the first secular album I ever bought, and then I threw it away because I felt
secular album.
I felt like
You felt
I felt too sinful.
I felt the guilt.
I threw it away.
But yeah,
I was on a choir tour, and I felt the Lord calling me to do it. So I did.
I listen to some.
I guess I won't talk about being raised Catholic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Catholic guilt got a hold of Chip for buying Californication.
Maybe that's why no one hit on me.
I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong, Faucett?
Oh no! Yeah, you weren't a good enough Catholic to get guilt. I'm sorry, Chip.
What, y'all call him father? I call him daddy.
Father.
So for those of you who do have a record collection, what are some of your favorite record stores you've been in?
High Fidelity Records in Amityville, New York.
Ooh, okay. I'm writing that down.
Okay.
I'm gonna take notes on this one, by the way.
Actually, my very good friend Mark owns the place. He keeps it well stocked. Really good, like, punk rock collection there. Really good old school rockabilly. Even, and Long Island's like a dead spot for country music, but there is some good country in that store too.
I'm glad there's one dead spot, man.
You remember Record Stop in Lakefront Kakuma?
I do remember Record Stop.
They had a lot of obscure records when I was growing up, and I think they finally moved to another town, but they're still on Long Island.
Yeah, I think they're in Ronkonkoma now.
I think they
No,
went to
not
Patchogue.
Ronkonkoma.
They were in Ronkonkoma. They went to Patchogue. I'm pretty sure.
It's getting real Long Island.
All right, do me a favor and spell Patchogue.
Tchogue.
I would know because I invented Patchogue Taxi and Airport Service. That's how you pronounce the name of that company. I called my company Long Island Taxi and Airport Service.
Oh my god.
But then there was a listing in every town, so like I'm in Seaford and Seaford Taxi and Airport Service. But you would call Ronkonkoma Taxi and Airport Service.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's an excellent little record shop in Carrollton called Final Frontier that is 100% amazing. But my favorite record shops are in Birmingham. Seasick Records.
Oh, I've been
is
there.
an excellent spot. They've
I've
got
seen that spot.
Birmingham's a great town for hardcore and punk. I don't know if you guys knew that like that.
I did not know that, but
So yeah, Seasick Records and Renee's Vinyl
Yeah.
Resting Place in the Birmingham area are the best spots.
All right, I got
yeah. All right, Seasick Records is also a barber shop. Yeah, which is pretty cool. That one was interesting.
There's a cat cafe less than half a mile away.
Ooh, no way. That's really cool.
Dude, I'm sorry.
All right, we got some shuffling going on. Chip McGuire
Being
has
called
got to
in for
go.
sound check.
Yep, go to sound check. But
I will say they opened a record store around the corner from my parents' house in Buffalo called Revolver Records.
Revolver
And,
and
I walked in and realized that I was going to be able to knock off my entire wish list in one place, and so I literally turned around and left without buying anything because I didn't want my wish list to be done. And then and then there's no joy in the hunt anymore.
yeah. All right.
So I literally went in, saw how much they had, turned around and left.
Oh, no.
Well, if you guys are looking for good punk, if you are ever in Washington, D.C., Smash Records, they've got a really good punk.
Yeah, I got to get to the West Coast. I need to see Amoeba Records.
Ooh, me too.
before
That's
I
on my
die.
list. Oh, yeah, that's super high on my list.
Every time I find time to get to Amoeba Records, there's no parking there whatsoever.
Oh, dang.
None.
I'll keep that in mind. Dang. That's definitely a bucket list one, though.
I'll just use that great Los Angeles public transit system that everybody talks about.
There's no public transit in LA.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Buffalo. If you ever are in Rochester, Record Archive, that's actually probably my favorite record store. It's massive, and they have a nice little venue in the back. But my favorite part about it is it's got a little bar, so you can drink some beer while you're browsing through the records.
I
It's
might,
pretty
'cause
nice.
we're going to be touring through that way in August, so I can see if we'll because we'll be probably going from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to Buffalo. If the timing works, that'll be our day off anyway. Maybe we can do a little trip to Rochester. We'll
Yeah.
be driving right through it anyhow.
Yeah, highly recommend that record store. It's called Record Archive. Yeah,
Awesome.
but I stop there every time I go up to visit. My family's from up in that area, so
And my brother went to RIT and I went to Syracuse, so I know that
Hey,
I know that
okay.
whole I-90 corridor very well.
nice. If I didn't move to Georgia, I think I would have gone to Syracuse. So missed opportunity, I
I was
guess.
just in Syracuse not that long ago.
Did you do Funk and Waffles?
No, I can't get up there. I played in a place called Stoutbeard Brewing.
I don't know that one. That's probably open. I mean, I've been out of there 20 years.
But I know Funk and Waffles exists.
It's a really, really cool spot.
A lot of those places say, "Oh, you're not really for our format." So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I always, by reaching out enough, I always find the place where I do find the right format.
So you guys kind of talked about your first record that you remember buying, but do you have maybe like the most memorable find? Maybe you were searching for something for a while, then you finally found it, or found something that you didn't even know existed.
I have a really weird one.
Ooh, I'm ready.
All right. In early 2003, as I just discovered the genre of psychobilly and realized there is a scene for it. You gotta remember, growing up, I didn't think there was a scene for rockabilly or psychobilly. And I learned I liked psychobilly more than rockabilly because, the genres bend the rules a lot more in psychobilly than traditional rock. But then they established rules. So in the dollar bin, the same as psychobilly bin, this is a garage punk band called the Kaisers, one of my favorite bands ever. They got almost no publicity. They were on 5 labels for 6 albums or something. Maybe 6 labels for 5 albums. They had really you can't just buy their catalog. And their catalog isn't on the streaming services all in one. They kind of got to trick the streaming services to get songs off various albums. But their album Shake Me, which is still one of my favorite albums ever written, was in the dollar bin. They're like, oh, no one buys this.
Wow.
And that album played on repeat for most of that year and into the next.
Wow. Nice. And you found it in the dollar bin.
In the dollar bin.
That's insane. What about you guys?
I bought a used Newport Folk Festival, like 1967 or something like that, and I thought it was going to be great. What I failed to account for is that, before folk really took over, that it was really a lot more about the keeping the oral tradition of these songs alive. So it's awful. It's just absolutely unlistenable. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And then I went looking for songs for the deaf by Queens of the Stone Age, and I saw it somewhere, and it was like $45, and I'm like, yeah, that's too new for that. And so I went to another record store, and it was $75. So I went back to the first record store and paid $45 for it.
Whoa.
That's insane. What about you?
I have a few. So a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, at Criminal Records, I found a first edition of the Rolling Stones' Beggar's Banquet, very first pressing of
Wow.
it there, and in mint condition. So that's high up on my list.
Yeah.
I'm a big Stones fan, and I love pretty much everything they did from 1968 until 1980. Just
Well, what do you think
fantastic
of
albums? So that was great. And then what else?
What do you think of Between the Buttons era Stones?
Between the Buttons? I don't know that one.
It's the one that's got Ruby Tuesday, Let's Spend the Night Together on it.
Oh yeah, that's kind of. I mean, I think Ruby. That was right before they started that run.
Right, that was it. Wasn't the most psychedelic? The most psychedelic is Satanic Majesty's
Right,
Request,
Satanic Majesty.
which is a Weak Stones album.
Right.
Between the Buttons it has like Miss Amanda Jones. That's got some killer songs on it.
Yeah.
Yesterday's Papers is on that album.
So yeah, the first edition Beggar's Banquet was great, and then I also found some on a different trip, also at Criminal. I found a first pressing of Cheap Trick's first album, just the self-titled, the first one that was kind of punk sounding almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really had a hard edge to it. So I found that In Color and Heaven Tonight, all first pressings. Picked those up. And then for recent albums, there was a band that James Eha was in and a few other guys called Tinted Windows.
I
They
heard
produced
about that.
one album and that was it. Hard as hell to find anything by those guys. But last year I was able to pick up a pressing on vinyl and I was like, hell yeah. Not that they're like my favorite band on earth, but it was more that I couldn't find it and I was looking and looking and looking and finally, okay, there it is. I got it.
That's
I
a
don't know,
good
who is
feeling.
it? Wasn't Elliot Easton Tinted Windows for?
In who? Tinted Windows?
Yeah.
So it's James Eha, Bunny Carlos from Cheap Trick played drums. I'm
But
trying-
Carlos, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he played drums on that. And I'm trying to remember the other guys that were in the band. I think one of the Hanson brothers was singing. It's kind of wild, the
Yeah, what?
pop punk kind of stuff that they just mashed together, and it was great.
Like a kid playing with his
Right.
action figures, just mash it together.
Right, just mash it together, and then somehow it worked for an album. So awesome.
But James Ehi is one of those guys who could play anything.
Right.
You know, he was not. You could tell even with his Smashing Pumpkins stuff, he had a lot of influences going.
Yeah, he had a lot more chops than what he was necessarily playing on those records.
Oh yeah.
So, how did you guys originally meet?
Well, I met Bobcat. I don't know if Bobcat even realizes this, but I'm in a side project that is also a side project of Hot Rod Walt from the Psycho DeVilles. And I was sitting in with that, and Bobcat was playing. This was probably a year and a half ago.
Yes.
Down in McDonough, like a biker bar down in McDonough.
Irish bar, biker bar ish.
Yeah.
It was a Sunday afternoon with
Yeah.
who's that guy from Europe? I talked to him all the time.
Michelle. He was here this weekend. We actually we played a show with him at this bar earlier this weekend.
Oh,
Walt
no
put on
way.
his Ramones Fest thing that he does every year.
Yep.
And then we played together at Moonrunners last year as well, which is a big folk punk music festival.
See, Log though. I mean, Larry the Artones play that, and they're like a traditional rockabilly band.
Yeah.
Goddamn Gallows. I mean, yeah, they spearheaded the whole folk punk scene, but
And they're I'd call them almost folk metal. They're like too heavy to be folk punk. But that's how the Muckers know Bobcat.
All
And
right.
then we've got connections with all the other bands playing tonight too.
What about you, man? You haven't said much. Do you have a record collection at all?
I do not have a record collection.
Well,
my first music purchase was a 30 gig iPod video.
Randall collects instruments instead of.
I collect instruments.
I don't mean like he has a big guitar
Okay.
collection. It means if it's the weirdest instrument you've ever seen
yeah.
or
What's
heard of, he has to buy.
what is the weirdest instrument you own? Or
It's
some of
called
them?
An accordiona. It's actually my favorite instrument.
Okay.
It's if you go halfway between. Oh, you know what a melodica is?
yes.
So it's like halfway between a harmonica and an accordion, and then
Okay.
you blow into it, but it's got like a keyboard
Is
on
it
it.
that? Does it have like the So is it just one mouthpiece and then
Yeah.
a
And
like?
And it's full of metal reeds, just like an accordion or a
Yeah.
harmonica, and so you can play chords. The difference between and if it looks like a piano keyboard, you're talking about melodica. But the French instrument, which was invented like mid 20th century,
Hey, we're live.
Yes,
I'm
and
just
here's
kidding.
our accordion player.
Hey,
Um,
go ahead and introduce yourself when he's done talking.
Okay, yeah. So the accordion is just like it just has a different button layout that I like because I like math and patterns, and it's got cool patterns. It looks like a
Nice.
little checkerboard on there.
Okay, so that's probably your favorite instrument, but also your weirdest, rarest instrument.
Yes.
Okay.
Number 2 is probably my contralto clarinet because I started playing that when I was 11.
It makes several appearances on our most recent album.
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Nice little plug there for Muckers' 4th album. No,
It's called Whiskey Tango.
yes.
Gotta get 'em.
But it sounds like a foghorn, and it has a lot of nostalgia for me. So
Nice. Okay, cool. And we just had someone enter the room. Go ahead and introduce
hey,
yourself.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I just had to make sure Randall wasn't talking shit about me. I'm Dave. I'm the accordion player for the band.
Okay, nice. How long have you been playing accordion?
Jesus Christ.
Since birth.
Yeah, it feels that way. I guess I was about 15 when I started, so how many years is that? Yeah, about like 13, 14 years.
Nice. Is that the only instrument you play?
Play piano too.
Okay. Does anybody else play more than one instrument besides Mr. One Man Band over here?
I'll be playing fiddle and mandolin tonight.
Ooh,
some guitar,
that'll be
too.
awesome.
I do some guitar. I also do some Brazilian percussion, but that does not come up often in the Muckers.
Oh, dang. Okay.
I'll play the cuica next practice. I'll pull out the cuica. My friends call it the hand stuck in jar because you play by rubbing a stick inside of the drum, so it looks like you have your hand stuck in the jar.
Does yours have like? Does it have the
That
horn
is
on the
so
outside or
interesting.
just
No,
the jar?
it's
Okay.
just the.
I also play mandolin, banjo, both tenor and 5-string. Although I like tenor better. I like how it sounds and how it's played.
Mhm.
Bass, both upright and electric. Lap steel, I'm pretty good at. Pedal steel, I'm okay at. Drums. I'm trying to get more into hand percussion and teach it to people at my show so I could, like, from the stage, throw a tambourine out at someone.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I could throw, like, maracas out at someone else. Hey, you, play this.
Yeah.
But it's funny throwing out hand percussion at people from the stage.
Yeah, I've never seen that. That'd be pretty awesome to witness. I'd love to see just like somebody would rise to the occasion, but then somebody else would be a deer in headlights. Love to see both, honestly. This is random, but for you,
yes.
this is super random. But if you ever find yourself in Brussels, Belgium, there's a musical instrument museum. I think it'd be your heaven. It is super interesting. It's many different levels, and it's just a bunch of different instruments that I've never even heard of or seen from all over the world, different eras, ancient, old, new, all that. It's really cool.
I'm going to be in Brussels in May, so you have to give me what
Yeah.
that is.
Oh, man,
It's called the Musical Instruments Museum. It's really interesting.
I was going to say Euro Tour 2026.
Yeah.
Porque no los dos, my friend. That's a language that they speak in Europe.
I don't think it'll get you very far in Belgium, though.
No, it will not.
Do they speak it in Europe or do they speak it in the Americas?
Porque no los dos.
Yeah, porque no los dos.
The reverse hooking.
Just setting us up for the bad dad joke.
You didn't answer this question yet, but do you have a record collection?
No, I'm cool.
It's to go.
Literally a podcast about record collection.
Yeah, man. Stick a bag. Stick a bag.
No. Take back news. I did have probably still do have a banging CD collection.
Okay.
Rattling somewhere around my parents' basement. But
Do you remember the first CD you bought?
oh my god, first CD I bought. I think it was probably Dookie by Green Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also with American Idiot, because, I got into Green Day when it was cool. But, yeah.
Nice. For those of you who have done a little bit of touring, do you have a favorite city that you've played in? Maybe a crowd that is better than some cities? I've heard Atlanta's a tough crowd, but I don't know.
It can be. It's not always.
First time I ever played Atlanta was the Masquerade in my band, the Devil Spades. We played with a punk band called Terminus City. and there were a few other acts. It was like every band on that bill had a heavy Social Distortion influence, and that was the best Atlanta crowd I ever saw. That was in the end of 2003 when Johnny, the guitar player of the Arkhams, had passed away. He was in that band with me. We played there. We played in front of, I would say, well over 100 people. And when we went on, the people were moving and grooving. It was great. Came back there and it was still really good. That was in '04, like December, not December, sorry, June of '04. Then we tried to get back down here in '05, couldn't pull it together. I actually played the Star Bar in my band, the Arkhams, in 2010, like January of 2010, and from there in, it was just like, you know. My next time in Atlanta was with his side project with Walt from the Hot Rod DeVilles. And I thought, hey, Atlanta, because remember how I said, like, a lot of places in the country were coming back from COVID and we're not, especially in 23. June of 23, we were slowly awakening from the COVID coma. Where, like, my first trip right now, my favorite spot on tour ever is Rock and Roll Pinball in Opelika. Followed closely by, like, The Cave in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. That's my jam.
Yeah.
I also really like Phoenix. I like Chopper John's in Phoenix a lot.
Okay.
That was a solid show. The 101 in College Station, very solid. There are these 3 venues in Laramie, Wyoming that I like playing at. Oh, Lewis and Clark Brewing.
Okay.
In Helena, Montana. Hofbrauer House in Montana. The Fun House in Seattle. I got to play there around Thanksgiving time with a very good friend. Muddy Royal Sloan, he's another one-man band. Yotes, he's another one-man band. He's making waves these days.
Wow.
Every time I log into Instagram, he's doing something else. His songwriting is just getting better and better every song. Let me think of other venues that I consider like to be the best. Crafty Canary Brewery, Walsenburg, Colorado. Wood Cellar in Evergreen, Colorado is great. Let me think. Oh, Old Sonoma Pub in California in like Napa Valley, Sonoma. It's like North Bay area.
Okay.
Very good. Winters Tavern in San Francisco. Pacifica. Let me think. There's Tucson. Oh, every time I play Tucson. Brickbox Brewing. I always like to play Tucson with my friends, the Res Tones, one of my favorite bands across the country. Mm-hmm. Guttertown. They're in like that Moonrunners, Muddy Roots crew. You know those guys. Howlin' Drag, also very good friends of mine. Both cities in Arizona, Phoenix and Tucson, have great scenes.
Okay.
Great, Phoenix is.
Didn't know that.
Phoenix has like a specialized psychobilly scene. How you see people with quiffs and Dementor goat patches on their jacket, whereas Tucson, it's a little bit more broad. Let me think, and even Bisbee, great. Oh, Bisbee Social Club. If there's one type of place I like to play the most, it's speakeasies.
Ooh, okay.
That's always top of the chain. I like speakeasies. What's the other one? Breweries are like my bread and butter. That's what I do. Breweries, tap rooms, distilleries, wineries, lodges, and then recently cannabis dispensaries. Those are all great places to play at where people are excited.
Did you ever see the live show in a cannabis dispensary? That's cool.
The best one was actually on International Talk Like a Pirate Day of last year. I got paid to host for obvious reasons. An International Talk Like a Pirate Day party with my very good friends Cartwright Banks. He's another one-man band out of Knoxville. And it was amazing. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm not into any of that stuff. Yet, I do really, really good at those kind of places. At breweries, at distilleries, wineries, anything that says, there's all these different types of venues. I just know those are the best. And cannabis dispensaries are a new thing. And people actually get excited for the music there. Like, and then I played one other in like the outskirts of Tucson. It was great. And booked at this place in Denton, Texas called Green Gods. Also, I'm excited because the other bands on the bill, Texas Rex, excellent band.
Nice.
I was just going to say, I don't know, I don't want to speak for the whole band, but we've, Jack of the Wood in Asheville.
Never had a bad time playing
has
Asheville.
always been a good time.
Where is this?
Asheville.
What place?
Jack of the Wood.
Jack of the Wood.
Yeah, it's like right on the main drag. Really cool spot. And then we've only gotten to play there once, but the Yukon in Seward, Alaska.
It's cool.
Yeah, everyone in Alaska was just starving for entertainment and happy to have us there. It was,
Aw.
It was a weirdly easy tour to book because everybody's just like, wait, you're from Atlanta, but you want to play here? Yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh. Do you guys?
What month was it?
It was May.
Great month to be there.
Yeah, it was like you were still getting. It was warm enough, but you were still getting like the long days. It was really, really cool.
See, I would go to Alaska around 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. Well, you probably get the 24-hour sunlight at that point too.
I'd love that. But I'm a warm weather guy. Ever since I lost the weight, I used to like cold weather better than warm weather. Now I get cold easily.
Yeah.
Ever since I dropped under the 200 range the first time in my adult life, now I don't. There's almost nothing too hot for me. I was in New Orleans 2 weeks ago. It was 85 degrees and very humid. I was enjoying it thoroughly. Yet, if you would have asked me if I would have enjoyed that 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh, hell no, I ain't going here. Whereas now, I mean, forgot this. Rochester, Minnesota. Shout out to my friends at Taco Jed and Chappie's Consignment. That's a hidden gem that no one ever talks about. And I'm there for a weekend in April. I'm doing a restaurant early, a brewery late, Chappie's in the day on Saturday, Taco Jed 6 to 8 p.m. So like dinner time, a pub at like the rock and roll bar hours, and then Sunday afternoon doing another brewery right outside of town. So that's me. My goal is to do 10 to 12 shows a week.
Nice. Wow, that's a lot.
Not enough.
All right. How do you even have time for all that? Oh my gosh.
I just, trying to maximize every hour.
Yeah. Sounds like you're doing it. Do you guys have a dream venue? Gold Star if you say anything but Red Rocks.
Oh, fuck you.
Number one answer.
It's not for me.
I mean, same, and I'm not even a musician, but
We play Music Fest in Bethlehem pretty frequently. We don't get to play the stage in front of the old steel mill stacks. I think it's just called the Stacks.
Yeah.
And I would love to get big enough to play in front of the Stacks.
One day to play some of the, I grew up playing tiny little folk gigs, and so first time I got to play the Masquerade, I felt like a total rock star. So to be able to do like the Tabernacle or one big in the venues or something would feel really cool.
Yeah, those are some good venues. Yeah.
Honestly, I want to find the lower 48 version of the Cavern Club.
Ooh.
Like, think of the Cavern Club where the Beatles played at, doesn't have to be big. In fact,
Does it have to be a cave?
Huh?
Does it have to be a cave?
A cave?
Yeah.
Because it's the Cavern Club.
No, it doesn't have to be anything. But I like that kind of space, and people who actually... I'd rather a small to medium-sized space where people just come out, see the music. I like blending music with comedy. I like different genres. Playing one genre, no matter what that genre is.
Hey.
I want relevant genres. Like me and the Muckers aren't exactly the same, but we're relevant enough to each other that it's. Well, I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's Chip.
Yeah. I think we
Chip's real good.
should probably wrap this up soon. So if you guys want to talk about any upcoming projects before we end, go ahead. What you guys got coming up?
I mean, we got St. Patrick's, so it won't be hard to find.
Okay.
We're playing Gulf Shores on St. Patrick's Day.
Ooh.
For some reason, 10 a.m., but
Oh my god.
I think it's the
All right.
first stop in like a bar crawl that starts at 10 a.m.
Oh, that's
Because
awesome.
It's spring break in Gulf Shores, so
Well, at least we'll get them before they're belligerent.
yeah, exactly. We'll get them before they start being idiots.
We'll just
And then
we'll probably get the hyped up on coffee people like so excited about their Irish song they thought of that morning.
I actually have one more question for you guys if you have time. So, what's the song that you guys have released that you're most proud of?
I think me and Dave co-wrote one called "No Irish Need Apply," which unfortunately it's a pro-immigration song that is
Becomes a
just
little more relevant every day.
I wish it was getting less relevant, but it's getting more relevant instead every day.
I'm proud of that. I'm also, Jeff has really wrote some songs from the heart and, going through addiction and a tough time in life. And honestly, I think those are songs that are most real lyrics and that come across the most powerful to me.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, love you.
So I got a few. In my band, the Arkhams, the song I'm proudest of, Crescent Sky, Worst Enemy, Screaming George, 'cause that's probably the closest thing I wrote to the blues. It's more of like a Bo Diddley thing.
Mm-hmm.
Screaming George, I'm very proud of. It gets gnarly, but it's like the straightest blues progression that I know how to write. No Rules also.
Okay.
And then in my one-man band, my release, Don't Walk Down the Stairs Backwards, is probably the instrumental that I'm most proud of. Although I'm also very proud of Valley of the Arkhams, because both songs, both Valley of the Arkhams and Don't Walk Down the Stairs Backwards, depict in musical form what it sounds like to walk down the stairs backwards.
Okay.
Which has been an obsession of mine since I was 13 years old. So I'm very happy with that. I'm also very happy with another one I released last year, my song Pound the Pavement, where I originally put it on my second album and I didn't have a good enough set of lyrics because I didn't live those lyrics in their entirety yet. In 2022, I was like coming out of the COVID coma, and that's what I like to call it, those years, 2021, 22. And I wrote Pound the Pavement, and I thought I had good dynamics, good lyrics, good chords, good melody. Yeah, the good melody and good chords, yes, I was happy with that. The good dynamics, no, because when I recorded that, I recorded, every instrument separately. I played rhythm guitar, drums, bass, guitar 1, guitar 2, organ 2, vocal harmonies galore. It takes about 4 or 5 hours for me to do one of those songs, and I didn't love the production that I did. Producer was good. He did as good of a job as he did, but you gotta understand, and you guys could probably relate to this first wholeheartedly. When you have band dynamics, a song gains its own life when you're playing it on stage.
Yeah.
And when you're 6 months into playing the song or a year into playing the song, the lyrics might change, right? Which is the case with my song Pound the Pavement. So my release last year, my single Pound the Pavement, I'm very happy with that because I figure out a set of lyrics that I'm very happy with, as opposed to a song, chords are good, melody's good, and then the dynamics, because I've been playing the song on tour every night, most nights opening my set with it, I was, there's only so much you can do with that. But once what I call Breathe Light, another one that I released, Tear You Down. But it's released as Tear You Down live on the streaming apps. Again, I recorded the original recording in 2022, a bunch of overdubs. And I'm sure the Muckers can relate, because you guys are, you guys are a multi-instrumental band. When I'm sure one of you guys might have wrote a song one way, but when another member adds something, you might get inspired to add something else.
Yeah, and then someone members,
and someone else decides to add another layer. Is there still party in here? And then
Chip's back.
Right.
No, just come back.
And right now, my dilemma is I have all these songs released, right? but more than half of them are overdubs where I didn't play them on tour and live the lyrics. I wrote the lyrics and I lived them, yes. But live viscerally is all that one-man band stuff. It's almost none of my... Like my song Blackness, I love what I did with the original version, the lyrics and stuff, but I can't reproduce it live. And now I'm at the point where I re-recorded it. Shout out to my friend Bernie at OJ Underground Exchange in Ohio Underground Exchange in Ohio, California. But when we redid that one, I was like, oh, this is nice. I also have another one, Invisible Man. I wrote it in 2022. Never really played it live because, again, coming out of the COVID coma in 2022, early 23, was not much to go around. Then in 2000, later on that year, I put out the single. I was like, all right, I'm going to start putting this in my set. When you're looking at the dynamics, what you do, you don't have to do the same thing every verse. And you really, to make music interesting, shouldn't do everything the same verse, the same chorus. Shouldn't do everything the same from the verses and the chorus. You should always, either embellish the vocal melody, embellish your chords, embellish your dynamics. And this is just one man. I'm one man. These guys are a lot of men.
We are a lot.
We are definitely a lot.
We are a lot.
I'm sure you guys can relate to the need. Sometimes, hey, you're not happy with the original recording. You want to get the dynamics that you built in for playing it live, interacting with the audience, going through new life experiences that might change a lyric or two, or hearing other influences that might change a chord or a melody line or two that just think, oh, okay.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, songs aren't static. Music is not static. It's dynamic, and you gotta, roll with those punches.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like the show is going to start soon. Am I right about that?
The doors are open. I certainly need to get my smoking in before we...
Yeah, all right. I was going to say, we can wrap things up here, but I really appreciate you guys taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
If there's anything else you want to add before we close it out, feel free.
Yeah, rock on.
All right, rock on.
It's a little late, but go Bills, I guess.
Wait, are they on the street?
Oh, is that
Who's
coming
playing?
up?
It is Sunday. How am I the only person that knows the Super Bowl is this weekend?
Because we're music people. Oh, I know the Super Bowl is this weekend.
Ooh, sports.
Yeah, you got to schedule around it.
We were debating. To me, Super Bowl is always a negative.
Yeah.
That's why I took the show that I took for Super Bowl Sunday. I was like, all right, I've played there before and never had a great show at the place I'm playing at. But any show, at a coffee shop, Super Bowl Sunday, you might do the best you're possibly going to do. Because no brewery is going to have you on Super Bowl Sunday. No pub is going to have you on Super Bowl Sunday.
Nice out.
Yeah.
No,
no.
Maybe a winery if you get lucky.
Maybe a winery. All right. Well, thank you guys again. This was Records Near Me. I appreciate it.
Cheers.